Thank you so much. Joining me now, CNN national security commentator Mike Rogers, former Republican chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, what's Vladimir Putin doing here?
Well, several things. There's a warm water port in Syria that he has long wanted to maintain, and his lease is up in about 10 years. This is his way, I think, of reestablishing keeping that warm water port. And think about this. So Soleimani, after the nuclear deal with Iran, Soleimani heads of the Quds Force, which is their CIA special forces combined, goes to Moscow. Shortly thereafter, you see this pretty healthy ramp up. Is clearly coordinated with Tehran to make sure that Assad, who they both support, Iran and Russia, staying in power, at least for some interim period. So this is a foreign policy effort on behalf of Vladimir Putin that certainly isn't in line with U.S. interests or really anyone else's interests.
Any sense that the Russian folks on the ground there will get involved in the battle against ISIS?
Well, we've already seen their pilots being more aggressive, so they've also brought in, not in addition to these 1,500 troops and heavy armament that they're going to probably provide to Assad's troops, and they'll probably provide command and control, logistics support, intelligence support. But we've seen a pretty aggressive posture in this new, some of these new fighters that they've provided, mainly because the Syrian pilots just aren't there yet. So I think that you'd see probably some Russian involvement in aircraft strikes in Syria is not impossible.
All right, let's turn our focus now. What's going on all around us right now at the Republican Library? The CNN debate is tomorrow night. What do you want to hear from the candidates on that stage tomorrow?
Well, listen, I think they all have something a little different to prove. You don't want it to turn into some kind of a clown show. That would be, I think, bad for the Republican brand, certainly bad for the candidates themselves. But they do have to stand up and make some points about where they are on things like national security. You know, one of the biggest issues the next commander-in-chief is going to face is how do you deal with Russia that's kind of pushing its boundaries? How do you deal with China pushing its boundaries? Cyber attacks. We've never seen the world in such bad shape. That next commander-in-chief is going to have to deal with it. I think Americans are going to want to see somebody who can encourage our allies and push back on our adversaries in a way that shows strength, but not reactionary. And I think that's going to be an important line to walk.
You know, it's interesting. You know, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, our last three presidents came to office without any real national security experience, so to speak. Any of the candidates who will be here tomorrow night, do they have experience that you think lends itself well to dealing with the problems around the world right now?
Well, I think a host of them do. I think the Republican Party this year has a really strong bench of candidates. Some have more experience and have been more engaged and have performed better, I think, on the campaign trail about talking about some of the difficulties in dealing with these really hard problems. You know, the reactionary lines are I'll do nothing or I'll send in the 101st Airborne Division. The truth of the matter is it's always somewhere in the middle in there to try to do that. And there's a whole bunch of tools in your toolkit to use. These candidates are going to have to show that they can reassert American leadership, rebuild credibility with our allies, and again, push back on our adversaries. There's a lot of candidates out there that can do that.
All right, Mike Rogers, great to have you here with us. Really
Thanks.
appreciate it.